Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Today's going to be a really great episode. I have Gabi McGee with me, who is a digital technical specialist at Microsoft, and Derik Bormann, who's an innovation lead at Ludia Consulting. Gabi, Derik, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. And I know you have two really cool sessions coming up at Community Summit, and we're going to get into that. But before, Gabi, do you mind telling us a little bit about you and your background and what you do as a digital technical specialist at Microsoft?
Sure. My background's a little all over the place. So I didn't originally start in sales. I'm actually a consultant starting out. I worked at a smaller consulting firm. So when that occurs, which I'm sure Derik is very aware, you wear all of the hats. So I did support, I implemented the software, upgraded the software, I did project management, all of the things. And then I was like, well, let's try something different. And I actually did the sales engineering role at a different SaaS platform that is actually in the credentialing world, which is really cool. Got to learn a little bit about that. And then I got into Microsoft. And as a digital technical specialist, I am as close to an expert on the product as I can be without being in engineering or product. So I help my sales counterparts to show the software to a bunch of our customers, potential customers, and give as much knowledge as I have.
Excellent. And software is you both specialize with Dynamics. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. So the business application space has been my career. And right now it's Dynamics 365. And I focus on the finance and supply chain modules, so mainly finance, and then also the project operations.
Okay, excellent. Well, Derik, tell us a little bit about you and your role at Ludia Consulting.
So I've been in the Dynamics space probably for, I'm going to date myself now, like 17 years probably. So I've been kind of like Gabi, have worn all the different hats, whether it's been developer, consultant, sales, kind of the whole nine yards. Where I probably have done the most and where people may recognize me the most is from my work in the training area. So I do a lot of the content for Microsoft Learn when it comes to the customer engagement platforms, whether it's sales, customer service, field service, project ops, those types of things. So that's probably where I've done most of my stuff. As far as like Ludia goes and my role at Ludia, it's really around helping customers drive innovation. Looking at all the new things that are coming out, whether it's artificial intelligence or any of those types of things, and Copilot from a Microsoft perspective, and how those things are going to be able to be used to really provide the best experience and allow our customers to get the most out of the software.
Very cool. And you have some really cool skateboards in your back.
Yes, those are my babies. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, it's really a pleasure to have both of you on the show. And I want to jump in because you guys both have, you're co-leading two different sessions at Community Summit this year. The first one is called Project Operations Deployment Types. Which is the best fit for you? Can you tell us a little bit about the session and who should be attending?
Yeah, so project operations, like it says, has multiple deployment types. Really, there's three. And depending on what you need as a company, one's better than the other. So it's really meant to educate and see how you can use project operations to help you track your internal or external projects better, and how you can track those costs as well, because going into what we're going into economy-wise, it's really great to be able to not only track your costs, but track your profit based on your projects, so you can really narrow it down. See, I bring finance into it because why not?
Yeah, well, finance is involved with everything, right?
That's true.
Yeah. Derik, what about you? What would you add about the session?
So, and I'm really here to be kind of the Vanna White to Gabi. I'm going to be there from a partner perspective. And as we get into maybe some deeper deployment conversations and those types of things, really kind of help answer those questions around, what type of deployment, in what situation, caveats, things to keep in mind, just things that we've, experienced out in our experience in deploying these and working from there. So I'm going to be more from the partner aspect on how we can help you, when you get from a to the actual deployment process.
Yeah, well, and that's interesting. Would you guys both talk about? It's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the way the relationship works, like Microsoft's go-to-market strategy, is really heavily dependent on partners. And so, Gabi, I would imagine you're like the technical expert on the product. You know the ins and outs of it. And then Derik, you spend more time working with the end users, with the customers. So how does that relationship work? And what's the benefit to Microsoft customers by having both a Microsoft technical specialist and a partner involved in their implementations?
Yeah, I think that was a great understanding. So as Microsoft, we are very product centric. We are all about the product, making sure it works, and then getting feedback from our customers and using that. However, with partners are not only the users, but they are on the ground working with users day in, day out in all of those different industries and really get that industry knowledge in there. As Microsoft Dynamics, the dynamic platform in general, we like to say it's configurable for any industry, but that doesn't mean I know every industry. And we like to work with our partners who really have the in-depth industry knowledge to really get it there. And like Derik and Ludia, they have that industry knowledge, especially with project operations and physical operations.
Oh, excellent. Derik, how would you, from the partner perspective, speak into that? Like, what's the benefit for your customers by having both you and Gabi, as an example, working together on an implementation?
Well, and I think the big thing is kind of what Gabi said. You have Microsoft from the product aspect, and you have us from the deployment aspect. I mean, one of the things that's when you start going into different industries, there's always different software platforms that you're trying to integrate with. There's different use cases that come in. And so you really have to understand through past experiences what that integration looks like, what are some of the caveats that can come into that. And if there are new things or areas that you run into, that's where the relationship with Microsoft comes in, because we can bring what we're hearing back to Microsoft, and they can use that to drive the future direction on what they do. And we do a lot of that with them, where we have pretty regular sync ups with the product team, just telling them this is what we've run into in some of our implementations. This is what our customers are telling them. These are some suggestions that we have that you might be able to roll out that will just make for a better experience across the board.
Yeah. And that, I guess, Gabi, then for Microsoft, that's just a great resource when you have a partner out there who's probably not scared of giving you their feedback and opinion. Probably get real time, real detailed feedback on the product and what they need fixed.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I am the type of person that prefers real feedback, real time. But we have Microsoft in general has changed the roadmap due to partner feedback. And it's really important. Like I think in general, honesty is best policy for the most part. And so having the straight up honesty and feedback of saying, hey, this specific part is really annoying. It really is very difficult. And if you could just tweak it to do this, customers will love it. So it's really helpful. I prefer it also when customers do it as well. You have the ability to do that within the software. And it's just, it makes it so everyone's involved in the product and everyone's involved in that roadmap to get so everyone can actually use it the way they need it to be used.
Yeah, I would imagine in working with technology before, customers tend to be a little bit more hesitant to give feedback because they tend to think it's them. Like they just need to figure it out better. But then when you have a partner who's there all the time and they could see, okay, this client had the challenge, this client had the challenge, this client had the challenge. Let's get back to Microsoft and let them know there's a pattern going on here.
Yeah, it's very helpful. I agree.
Yeah, that's great. Well, your first session that we talked about is project operations, deployment types, and which is best fit for you. Who are some of the ideal audience members or people that should come and attend that session?
I mean, anyone who wants to. I'm open to it all. Usually,
I'll be there.
Yeah, just be there. I don't care. So project managers, anybody in project accounting or just finance in general, it's helpful to see because, like we said, finance genuinely is in almost every part of any company. You have finance to do it all. And then also even users, right? What comes with project management and project operations is time entry, resource management. How would I use this system? How is this going to affect me in my day-to-day, right?
Right.
And then also executives who are working towards, they realize we just keep using Excel and this just is not working. And we need to be able to track things better. I mean, project management, like I said, or project operations is good for not just external projects, but internal projects. Like we're building a new building or a new production site or a new storefront. And we want to track those costs down to the nth level. How can we do that? How can I make sure that I'm tracking all of this to one specific spot? And also, how do I track the number of hours going into that project? And then how much money, once we do turn that building on, turn that asset on, start using that asset because it's done and complete, how much revenue are we getting from that? And how can we offset the costs of building that?
Yeah, that was pretty thorough. But Derik, do you have anything else that you'd want to add on that?
I think she covered it. I was going to say,
I mean, you did a great job.
Yeah,
thanks, guys.
Decision makers, those types of things. That's perfect. I couldn't have said it any better.
Yeah, Gabi, I'm sorry. That didn't come out exactly the way I meant to say it, but you did a very thorough and excellent job explaining that.
That's why she's leading the presentations and I'm Vanna White, because she's got that down with science.
You're going to make a great Vanna White, Derik. Yep. I appreciate it. Well, hey, let's jump into your second session as well. And I love the title. I mean, look, if I get to go to one, this is the one I'm going to just because the title is so good. It's Project Operations, or PSA, things to make you go, right?
Yeah.
I love it. So Gabi, tell us a little bit about that session as well.
Yeah.
What can people expect?
They can expect to learn the differences between Microsoft's PSA and Microsoft's D365 projects operations. So PSA, which is Project Service Automation. Got it. Nailed it. You always forget the acronyms, and there's always so many.
Yes. A lot of acronyms.
That could be public service announcement. You never know. But it's really to teach you the differences between the two and get an understanding of potentially why you should move from one or the other, and give you some insight into potentially end-of-life information on PSA, not project operations.
Right. Absolutely. And Derik, or Vanna White, what's your role going to be in the second session?
Well, I think, again, kind of feeling questions and coming at it from that implementation perspective, particularly with PSA going to end of life. Now it really becomes a scenario where the decision might be made for you sooner rather than later. And so it's really important to understand, what are those trade-offs? Because with PSA, there's only one deployment type, whereas when you get into project operations, there's multiple deployment types. And so how does that translate as you make that transition, or potentially make that transition? What does that transition look like with those different deployment types? And so, we're here to help you, get guided through what that procedure might look like, answer some of those questions, and just really make sure you have the best information possible so you can make the most informed decision as you decide what to do moving forward.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you both for coming on the show today and sharing with us about your sessions at Community Summit. I will see you in Charlotte. Hopefully I can get to come to at least one of your sessions, especially the one that makes you go, I kind of like that one. All right. Well, Gabi and Derik, thank you so much for coming on the show. To really appreciate it.